Hello and welcome to Reality TV News Update, where you'll find the most recent news, entertaining moments, and exclusive behind-the-scenes content. Rick Devens has already shaken up Big Brother Season 28 a couple of times, but he's looking to make his biggest move yet. With Yash Patel's Week 6 head of household set to send home one of the two icons, he's making a play that just might save them both. For those not watching Big Brother online, the live feeds revealed Yash followed through on his promise of nominating Devens, Angela Murray, and Haley Thogmartin. While it seemed like Haley would be the easy target after her disastrous HOH, it looks like yet another former Red Corner member could be blindsided if Devens can pull off this risky move. Yash won the Week 6 veto. Yash is batting 1,000 this week, at least when it comes to competitions. The Big Brother houseguest rounded out his HOH week with a veto win as well, and can do as he chooses without having to negotiate with anyone. He was seen as a non-factor at the start of Season 28, but Yash is doing all the right things for someone who wants to win Big Brother. Whether he'll use it remains up for debate. Yash and Camu Kirk have discussed the possibility of maybe pulling down Haley or Angela, and putting up Barrett Pfeiffer in their place. They haven't made any firm decisions yet, though I'll personally be interested to see how the rest of the house responds if he pulls down Haley based on what's on the way. Rick wants to use the diamond power of veto, but it's a huge risk. The one person Rick has told about the diamond power of veto now expects him to use it to save her from the block, putting him in a difficult position. He hoped he could convince Dee to use her BB bribe to force him to use it, so he could pocket $5,000 for saving his survivor buddy from going home in the worst-case scenario. Dee has waffled on this a bit, as she thinks it would be reckless to flush both of their powers this week. Unfortunately for her, Rick kind of feels the same. If he uses the diamond power of veto, he can take down Dee and decide who goes up in her place. Right now, he's planning to swing for the fences and put up Camu in hopes they can save Angela, with the house unwilling to let Camu survive the week if he loses the blockbuster. The problem with this is every houseguest in the game more or less assumes Rick has a power. They just don't know what it is. If he does this move, everyone will know it was him, and there will be no denying his solid relationship with Dee. Furthermore, Camu could survive the BB blockbuster and then go to the rest of his allies and campaign for Rick to go up on the block the following week. If Devens opted not to use the DPOV, he could maintain his good standing with Camu and the other men in the house, and it's entirely possible Dee wins the blockbuster and survives eviction anyway. Of course, there's no guarantee Angela survives the week, but that may not be of importance to Rick. Right now, Rick is trying to formalize the crossovers. Dee, Angela, Devens, Drew, Barrett, uniting with FAP. Barrett, Drew, Melody, Mallory. That formalized alliance plus saving one of the icons could, in theory, have the votes to save the other from the block. It's not a guarantee, however, and there's so much that can happen. You just have to wonder if Devens isn't better off letting Dee and Angela fend for themselves and saving that power for himself. Big Brother 28 is heading into another critical week, and the power of veto could completely change the direction of the game. With the Week 6 nominees fighting for their safety, all eyes are now on Rick Devens, who appears ready to make a move that could shake up the entire house. The latest developments suggest that Devens isn't interested in simply playing it safe. Instead, he's considering taking a major risk with the veto, one that could either dramatically improve his position or put an even bigger target on his back. And in a game where one decision can change everything, that's a dangerous gamble. The Week 6 veto could change everything. The Week 6 power of veto competition is especially important because the current nominations have created an uncomfortable situation for several houseguests. While some players are hoping the nominations remain unchanged, others see the veto as their best opportunity to completely reshape the week. That's where Devens comes into the picture. Rick appears to be considering how he can use the veto to influence the larger game rather than just using it for personal safety. Other houseguests may be forced to reveal their true loyalties if he is willing to take a risk. The problem is that making a big move too early can come with serious consequences. If Devens successfully pulls off his plan, he could emerge from Week 6 with more influence than ever. But if the move fails, he could suddenly find himself exposed. Rick Devens isn't afraid to gamble. One of the biggest storylines surrounding Devens has been his willingness to think several steps ahead. Instead of automatically choosing the safest option, he's been looking at the bigger picture. That is precisely the reason why the veto situation is so intriguing. The power of veto gives players an opportunity that doesn't come around every week. Once it's used, nominations can change, alliances can be tested, and targets can shift almost instantly. For Devens, that could be the perfect opportunity to take control. The big question is whether he's willing to risk his own position in order to make it happen. According to the latest Week 6 developments, that possibility is becoming increasingly realistic. A risky veto decision could shake up the House. If Devens decides to make a bold move with the veto, there are several possible outcomes. The best-case scenario would be that he accomplishes exactly what he wants while keeping himself protected. He might make the head of household make a difficult replacement nomination, protect an important ally, or weaken an opposition alliance. However, there is a different side to the story. A failed move could expose Devens as someone who is far more dangerous than some houseguests may currently realize. That's a particularly serious problem at this stage of the season. The House is reaching the point where players can no longer afford to ignore strong strategic threats. Someone who repeatedly demonstrates the ability to influence nominations and votes can quickly become a priority target. Devens therefore has to decide whether the potential reward is worth the danger. The HOH might not be in charge. Another reason the Week 6 veto is so important is the possibility that the power of veto holder could force the head of household into an uncomfortable position. Winning HOH gives a player enormous power, but the veto can limit that control. The HOH may suddenly be required to select a replacement nominee if the veto is used. That creates an opportunity for other players to pressure the HOH into making a move that benefits their own games. That is precisely the kind of chaos that Devens might be able to take advantage of. Rather than simply following the House's preferred plan, he could use the situation to create uncertainty. And uncertainty is often where Big Brother's biggest moves happen. Other houseguests are watching. Even if Devens doesn't openly reveal his plans, other players are likely paying attention to his behavior. Every conversation matters during a veto week. Who is Devens talking to? Who is he reassuring? Who is he avoiding? Is he pushing for the veto to be used? Or is he quietly preparing for a completely different outcome? Those questions could become increasingly important as the veto ceremony approaches. The danger for Devens is that too much campaigning could expose his intentions. If several houseguests start to believe he is manipulating the week, they might decide it's better to kick him out sooner rather than later. That's the balancing act he has to manage. Is Rick really able to pull the trigger? The most intriguing part of the Week 6 storyline is that Devens appears to understand the risks. This isn't necessarily a situation where he's making a reckless decision without thinking about the consequences. Instead, the potential move could be calculated. Devens knows that sitting back and allowing other players to dictate the game has its own risks. If he believes the current house structure is becoming dangerous for his side, waiting another week could make things even worse. That's why the veto could represent a rare opportunity. One successful move could completely change the power structure. One failed move could put a massive target on his back. Week 6 is becoming a turning point. Big Brother seasons often have a moment when the game starts moving much faster. In Season 28, that moment might come in Week 6. The early game relationships are being tested, players are becoming more comfortable making nominations, and houseguests are starting to realize that every alliance has weaknesses. That makes the veto more than just a competition. Could be a weapon. For Devens, the question is whether he should use that weapon aggressively. If he does, fans could be looking at one of the biggest strategic developments of the season so far. If he doesn't, the house could remain on its current path, at least for another week. The big question. Ultimately, everything comes down to one decision. How much is Rick Devens willing to risk to change the game? He might get a chance to have a big impact with the Week 6 veto, but it could also make him a big strategic threat. With the veto ceremony approaching, the pressure is only increasing. For now, the safest assumption is that nothing is guaranteed. A veto win could completely rewrite the nominations. A bold decision could send shockwaves through the house. And if Devens really is prepared to take the big risk he's been considering, Week 6 could become one of the most important weeks of his Big Brother 28 game. Fans should keep watching closely, because this veto may be about much more than simply saving one houseguest. Could determine who controls the game next. Big Brother continues on CBS on Sundays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Whatever happens this week, it's sure to be entertaining. So be sure to keep an eye out for updates on what's happening in the house. D. Yep, you're going to put all three of us up. I know it. That would be good television. Barrett. Put all three of you up? Devens will be like, I have an idea. You put me on the block. 12:33 a.m. Drew Barrett in the backyard. Drew walks D through what her winning the blockbuster actually does. Drew. You're good this week. I just hope you save Angela. I think that's the main thing. You saving Angela gets us to get Haley the F out of here. Wait, what do you mean you hope I save her? D asked. Drew. Save her meaning if you win the blockbuster, it'll be Haley and Angela. And we just vote out Haley. D. Do you have a doubt in your mind that I wouldn't evict Haley? In a heartbeat. Drew. No, the reason I'm saying this is if Haley wins, then Angela has to go. So you winning the blockbuster saves Angela from going. D. Yes, absolutely. D declares. The game is over if Angela can tackle Haley during the blockbuster and give me more time to win. Drew. She can just start screaming or something. She should get into a f***ing major fight with Haley before. Dude, she would do it. She would do it and she'd be good at it. Because Haley would be rattled. After fights she tries to play tough and she's like, didn't bother me. But it bothers her. Barrett. I don't know if that's intentionally been done before. Drew. I'm sure it's happened by accident. But if Angela goes there and rattles the S out of Haley, it's either going to make her want to win it more, or it's going to make her be like, D. I don't want to be here anymore and I don't care if I go. Because she has already indicated that she does not desire to be here. So if Angela just starts screaming at her right before, dude, that would be the greatest. That's not a bad idea. Drew. It's not a bad idea. It'd be right before we have to sit down and get ready for the live. D. No, it has to be right then and there. Because if it's right before, you still have a few seconds to recollect yourself. D. That 2 minutes that you're playing the game, before you start playing the game, Angela just goes over and starts effing screaming. Or Haley, do you remember when? That gives me some extra time. Drew. I want her to do it right before we have to sit down so Haley can't talk to anybody. So she has to sit there in silence and take it all in and be in her head about it, and let it marinate for an hour or 30 minutes. Because then she has to sit next to Angela. And if they start arguing on the couch, that's even better. Barrett. That's definitely a thing that's never happened before. 2 people arguing on the couch during a live event. Drew. Alright, live shots in 3, 2, 1. Barrett. It would be silent. They would just get live shots of everyone looking really effin'. Barrett. They would still record it and then maybe on Sunday they would be like, this is what was happening. Julie would probably have to make an announcement during the live show before the voting to be like, this has been a weird hour. Drew. We just have to make sure the veto doesn't get used, which I don't think it will. It would be dumb for him to do it because it'd piss everybody off. Drew. Here's the thing about the blockbuster. They make you sit there and you're waiting to play, and they want you to stand on your spot. So you can't go and fight there. But I'm pretty sure you can do whatever you want during the game. Therefore, if Angela desired to simply remain in Haley's face the entire time, D. That's what I'm saying. Go be up in her face. Drew. If it's like a puzzle and she's just like, I hate you. Is that too far? Yes, it probably goes too far. D. Yes, it is. But if it's going to keep you in the game, is that really bad? No, this is a job. This is a job. I'm clocking in. Barrett pictures the 2 of them stuck in glass tubes catching balls, one of them screaming at the other through the glass. Barrett. Just muffled. 12:38 a.m. Drew Barrett in the backyard. Drew changes subject entirely. Drew inquired. Hey, how do you feel about hiding the bags? The new bags. Barrett. Come on, man. Come on, man. A month in. D. Honestly, I think it's poetic because we did that like the first week, right? Barrett states. That was about day 4. D. And it was like almost 6 a.m. Barrett. We watched the sun come up at the end of that night. Drew. Rome was still here. Barrett. I think everybody was here. Yeah, you were HO. D. I'm down to do it. There's 4 bags, right? Drew. Yeah, I say we hide one. D. Wait, did anyone already play? Who already saw the 4 bags? Drew, me and Camu. Me and Camu ran and told Devens. And then we ran and told Yush. Dee says, so let's wait until more people see it. I think it'd be kind of obvious that it's one of you guys. Let's do it tomorrow night. Drew circles back to Haley one more time, and floats bringing Lala in on it. Drew, I'll be so down for Angela to just effing rattle her ass right before. Get Lala to hop in. Like if Lala and Angela team up on Haley. No, but Lala cannot know that. Dee. That's bullying. This is for gameplay purposes. If Lala goes in, this is going to be personal. Drew. But it would mess her up even more. Drew. But you got this, Dee. I think you could do this. Dee, thanks, dude. No, I'm actually weirdly excited. Drew. That's how I felt. I was like, oh, I'm excited to play. Was I nervous that maybe I could go home if I was sitting next to Lyric? Yeah. But I don't think I was because I had you guys. And you're in the exact same spot right now. Dee. We also told you that last week. No matter who, you were going to stay. Drew. I can't wait for us to be sitting there and it's like, and the winner of the blockbuster is, Angela will be like, what the F? I'll take it, but what exactly? Dee. You guys are underestimating her. Drew. Oh no, I think Angela's dope. I just think she gets in her head. And she got in her head a little bit today before the veto. 12:40 a.m. Drew, Barrett and Dee backyard. Dee. I love Angela with all my heart. She's in a house with all younger people. I'm sure there's feelings of, am I gonna be accepted? Not now, obviously she's loved. I think she feels pretty good with us. And her first experience was S. She seems to have a good understanding of the situation this week. And she's handling it well. Drew. Comparatively, she was in a 5-person alliance, right? The first or second week. Additionally, it exploded. 2 weeks in. Barrett. She blew it up. They tried to form an alliance with her, Quinn and Joseph, and she thought it was a lie. She thought they were lying to her. She was HOH and Quinn went up there and was like, I want to form an alliance with you. And he was like, do you like the idea? And she was like it? I love it. And then cut to her in the deer being like, I think they're lying to me. Dee. Dude, I gotta watch her season again. Dee starts in on Angela's HOH room speech from that season. Drew. Knowing her history, why the F did we make an alliance? I have no FNG idea. She was here for redemption. Barrett. Probably the best thing we could have done. Drew. Dude, she's been nothing but great. Barrett. I love working with her. In fact, I would go as far as to say the best secretive part about our alliance is that nobody could connect me to Angela. Camu's a little bit, Barrett said. Drew. Camu's connecting you and Dee a little bit. Dee. Well, we've always spent time together though. Dee. Why did he say something about us? Drew. Well, when they were saying they were worrying about Barrett, they were like, yeah, Barrett's pretty close to Dee and Angela. And Devens. They said all three. If not F and Camu and Yesh feel close with Devens, you know what I mean? Barrett. Yeah, I was about to say, look in the mirror. Drew. You know how it is when you're in power. Barrett. They're just jealous, man.